this international lecturing. So last year you've been speaking as the main speaker at this international lecturing, giving the topic of ecotourism best practice, right?
Yes.
And now you're gonna giving us the insightful of halal tourism and giving the topic about halal tourism unveiled.
Yes.
I'm so curious about that, and I think it's the most anticipated of this wonderful event today. But before we're moving on to the presentation session, I will be reading a glimpse of your curriculum vitae, just like last time.
Okay.
So, Dr. Arni Abdul Gani, a Malaysian, now currently serving as a head center in Tourism Management Department in Universiti Teknologi Mara, Selangor branch, and also serving as a senior lecturer from November 2016. Dr. Abdul Ghani has so variety teaching experience and also including in supervisory works in PhD in Tourism Management Program Studi and also Master in Tourism Management, of course. And Dr. Arni Abdul Ghani has so many research and paperwork, including in hospitality, tourism, rural area in Malaysian tourism, and also in ecotourism. I'm afraid I can read it all because it's so much of paperwork. It's almost like 8 pages, I think. But you know what? It's a proof that experience speaks for itself and how good she is, how great she is. So, Dr. Arni, without further ado, we're going to move in the presentation session. You will be having about 30 minutes and we'll be following by Q&A session after that. So having about 30 minutes and we'll be following by Q&A session after that. So give a round of applause for Dr. Arni Abdul Ghani. Dr. Arni, the time and screen.
Okay. Allow me to share. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, okay. Full view, huh? All right. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. At any point of a time that you cannot hear me because I'm at home, actually, it's a Saturday, so I'm at home. I'm using Wi-Fi, so I'm afraid, there might be a time when you kind of see a lagging in terms of a network. But just let me know. Please let me know. Okay. But I hope within the 30 minutes time given to me, I'll be able to deliver. Even though 30 minutes is quite short, but I'll try my best. Okay, I'll try to deliver as much as I can on the area that I would consider one of my area that I'm currently active in teaching and researching as well. Okay, so also proud to share. I have, I think, like two students just graduated from Indonesia, my international master students. One is from Lombok, another one I can't remember where she's from, but both of them actually done research in halal tourism. Okay, so the current one, the recent one, she is from Lombok, and her paper just got accepted for publication in one of the journals in Malaysia. So that is a very good success for the students. Okay, so when you say about halal tourism, I think it is not something that is very alien in a sense that we don't know about it. I mean, we from this part of the world, so Asia, especially us, Southeast Asia. So halal tourism is not something that we don't know about. I mean, most of us here Islam or Muslim by religion. Islam by religion, and we are Muslims. So halal tourism is not something that we never heard of. Okay. In fact, if you ask your non-Muslim friends, I think a lot of them already at some point or another have the understanding of what halal means. But what I'm going to talk today is more about how do we, being a tourism students, I reckon that all of you have that fundamentals of what tourism means, or what is tourism industry, or what are the products of tourism. But when we talk about halal tourism, in another umbrella, we call it Islamic tourism. We will look into how or in what ways can we embed the values and teaching of Islam into the product or into tourism. So that is what Islamic tourism means. In Malaysia, we always refer it as Islamic tourism as compared to halal tourism. The reason why I put here halal tourism, because in many other countries aside from Malaysia or maybe Singapore or even Indonesia, a lot of other countries in our region like to refer it to as halal tourism, because of the term halal is much more understandable even by non-Muslim, and much more, I would say, accepted as compared when you use the word Islamic. Because Islamic, I reckon, because the word Islam tends to refer to the religion, much more obvious as compared when you call it halal. Okay, but no worries. The terms can be interchangeable as accordance to how each destination would like to be referred to. Okay, but what I'm going to talk about today I'll be touched a little bit on the general part of it. Okay, giving some examples of what we have here in Malaysia, and I probably want you by the end of my lecture be able to maybe relate to some of Islamic or Muslim popular destinations in your provinces or in your country. Okay, so this is my lecture overview. All right, so let's look what is halal tourism. Okay, to all us Muslim, halal, we know what halal means. Okay, basically it is what you can do as compared to haram, what is you cannot do as a Muslim. So halal tourism, in that understanding, means that this particular tourism should follow what we as Muslim live by. So as a Muslim, we live by what, or when we say Islamic values and teachings, relate so much into what we call as Sharia law. Sharia law, which we abide by day-to-day basis, which basically govern us into what you can do, what you can eat, to what you cannot do or what you cannot eat. So that is halal tourism. Okay, so it involves, but when we have halal and tourism, this means that halal halal as in abide by the rules of Islam or Sharia law, and you have tourism. Okay, so halal means this particular tourism should abide or should follow all regulations governed by the religion. Okay, so halal tourism involves anything, any experience in tourism, but it must be in line with the Islamic practices, Islamic beliefs, Islamic values, and Islamic teachings. Okay, so normally when I say halal tourism, a lot of my students would say, okay, halal tourism means halal food, halal drinks, okay? But actually, if you really look into halal, the implementation of halal in tourism should go beyond just providing halal food or halal beverage or halal F&B. The implementation of halal tourism should go beyond that, and it has to go beyond that. Okay, I will talk about that a later part. All right, so it's not only halal food, even though to many people, especially to non-Muslim, when said halal, they will say, oh, okay, halal food. You know, that is the only thing that they know. But to us as a Muslim, we know that halal means more than that. All right. So when you said about halal, is it because my lecture today is talking about potential, so we might wonder what are the demands currently for halal global market. Okay, so what I have here is recent, I think, projected a lot of it by Crescent Rating. Okay, so halal tourism industry is expanding worldwide. How do we know it is expanding worldwide? What I mean, you might ask, coming from a Muslim countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, we probably not. If you don't look close enough, you might see it's quite a normal phenomena because we see Muslim every day, right? But how do we say it is rapidly expanding worldwide? One you can observe just by observing is see how our non-Muslim countries near to us, such as Korea, okay, such as maybe Thailand, okay, maybe Vietnam, all right, even Japan for that matter. So even if you see in the news, or even if you just do a simple searching on the website, these countries are aggressively promoting what we call halal tourism. Sometimes they also refer it as Muslim friendly, MFT, Muslim friendly tourism or halal tourism, same thing. Okay, so these countries, so from there we know that why we might wonder why do all these non-Muslim countries are aggressively promoting towards this. Recent discussion I had with a counterpart in Philippines. Philippines are also going for this halal tourism, okay, because they know there is a very good demand, or if you don't tap on the market, you will be left behind. So halal tourism is projected by what? By the increase of population I would say on daily basis. Maybe if you are in front of your laptop now, so you can just see what are the projected Muslim population in the coming 5 or 10 years. Okay, so the number is huge. So when you have bigger and increasing population of a certain market, we know when we learn marketing, we know there is definitely a demand. Okay, so but it is projected 300 billion by 2026. US is doing it, Europe is doing it, all right? Even I would say nowadays, if you go to any countries in the world, it is not that very hard to find halal food anymore as compared to if you travel like maybe 20 years ago. All right. So all this is an evidence to say that there is a demand for halal market or halal tourism. Okay. And then why halal is important? Why is it important? Because it fills the gap. What gap are we talking about? Because previously, when we talk about conventional tourism, there is a gap because conventional tourism does not really focus on the needs of a certain market. And when Muslim market is expanding, and we know Muslims, we do our day-to-day activities based on our religion, based on our faith, right? So this is what the gap is all about. So the conventional tourism products unable to fill those gaps, the gaps where Muslim market must eat in a certain way or must do a certain way. We need to salat, or we need to perform our salah 5 times a day. We need a place to do that. We need ablution. We need water. Okay, so those things are what conventional tourism unable to fill. So that is a reason why this market or this product is actually been with us quite a few years. I won't say a few years, like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, quite new compared to conventional market, but it is expanding rapidly. Okay. All right. So global market review and potential opportunities. I talk about Asia Pacific region. So if you look into the, I don't have it here in my slide, but maybe you can Google later. The top 10 Muslim-friendly or Islamic destinations. Normally, you will see our country, Malaysia, Indonesia, always on the list. Okay, Malaysia has been quite a few years back, always top of the list in terms of providing best destination for Muslim friendly or Islamic tourism, or you want to call it halal tourism. Okay, so Asia Pacific region, largest market for halal tourism, led by countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. Okay, but the last time I mean a recent one when I have a look at the list, Middle Eastern countries is moving towards becoming preferred destinations for Muslim friendly as well. Countries like UAE, Qatar, Qatar especially after successfully hosting the World Cup, right? So has been and providing, I think Qatar has been quite successful in projecting a good Islamic or Muslim destination to the worldwide. I mean, using that particular event. Okay, the Middle East countries is a major hub for halal travel. Talking about UAE, Saudi Arabia. Saudi, if you look into Saudi, what is Saudi doing now? They invested a lot in terms of upgrading infrastructures wise to welcome tourists or to encourage people to come, not only for pilgrimage tourism, which is Hajj and Umrah, but Saudi Arabia is desperate to get people to tour the country. So they are upgrading infrastructures, coming up with new attractions and so on. And of course, these Middle Eastern countries, these are very rich countries. Money is not a problem to them. All right. So have a look, see what Saudi, Qatar, UAE is doing in terms of encouraging tourists to their countries. Europe and Americas, halal also growing in this part of the world. Maybe we are familiar with some Muslim destinations, Spain, Alhambra, these countries in European part, either MENA countries. Okay, so MENA countries, Middle Eastern and North Africa. So these countries are very popular because there are a lot of Islamic histories, the one we learned during our school time, prophet stories and whatnot. So a lot of them happen in those parts of the world. So MENA countries, Spain, Turkey, okay, it's north of Asian countries, very close to European areas or European countries, European continent. All right, so these countries are also talking about destinations for option for destination for Muslim friendly or halal tourism. Okay, so forecast revenue and growth statistic, current market size 200 billion globally or 300 billion globally projected at that. Okay, expected growth at 5 to 7% per year by 2026. The key drivers for growth. Okay, I just mentioned about increased population of Muslims all over the world. Okay, and then rising income among Muslim travelers. Now dual income household, mother father works. All right, and then because of higher education, people are getting good positions. Good positions mean better income. Better income means more disposable income. So what do people do with disposable income? They travel. Okay, so this become a factor for contributions towards, and Muslims around the world getting better, maybe compared to 50 years ago. Okay, all right. So getting better in getting securing good or higher positions in companies, entrepreneurs, businessmen, and so on. Okay. So who are Muslim tourists? Why I say Muslim family? Because the nature of Muslims or the nature of with a lot of reference to Asian people, we travel mostly, I would say, we travel in groups. Okay, so Muslim market generally travel in groups. When I say travel in groups, they can be small groups like two or three people, and they can be larger groups. Okay, for example, immediate family, parents, children. Okay. Or traveled with friends, or traveled with relatives, traveled with spouse. That's why you see a lot of these Arabs, honeymoons, and both after got married and they come to Malaysia, come to Indonesia, both of them honeymoon. So normally in Muslim market we travel in groups. So that's why we say we are a family-oriented market. Okay, hardly, but even though I would say in later part, I would say about the immigrants, there are trends in solo travel. Okay. Muslim tourists under 40s, Gen Z, this is actually the prime, currently the prime market or prime market for travel. Under 40s, Gen Z. Okay, and then women traveler. So this is another potential emerging. Looking at women traveler, normally travel in groups, like 4 or 5 women in a group, and they travel. Muslims. Okay. And they travel. Okay, so key players, this is more or less the same. Indonesia, home to many halal-friendly destinations. Lombok, I would say, Pulau Seribu Masjid ke? Is it? Am I correct? If I'm mistaken. Kan, Lombok. Pulau Seribu Masjid. I've been to Lombok once. Okay. So Indonesia, many halal-friendly destinations. You can, I mean, if you go to any parts of Indonesia, maybe Padang ke, I mean, you Indonesian, you know better than me, right? But me traveling to Indonesia, don't have problems finding good food, masjid or mosque all over the countries. Okay, you can. I mean, typically pass by Muslim communities in any parts of Indonesia. Okay, and then halal certified. Of course, Indonesia also have their own certification for halal. So a lot of these hotels does provide halal food and so on. So Malaysia does top destination for halal travel. If you have ever been to Malaysia, okay, so same more or less. We are more or less the same. Okay, and then Singapore offers a variety of Muslim friendly, even though they don't really call themselves as Muslim countries, but they have. I would say because of the location wise and because of a lot of the contributing tourists to Singapore are mainly from either Malaysia, Indonesia or nearby countries. So also Singapore and Singapore they have this what they call Halal Summit every year, which is a very good conference, convention and business get together for a lot of under travel, under retail and so on. So that is an annual halal event in Singapore. Okay, products and services in halal. Talking about halal food and drinks, I'm not going to touch on that. I think we are more or less know. Prayer facilities. When we said halal tourism, if you are going to propose a halal tourism package, one of the I would say key features of that particular package is a mention about prayer facilities. Normally, you will see a visit to the mosque, a visit to the maybe prominent or important or significant mosque at that particular destination. So talking about Indonesia, probably you say Jakarta, maybe the masjid apa panggil? Yang besar tu? Istiqlal.
Istiqlal.
Okay. So a visit that should be mentioned in the package. Halal accommodations, halal certified hotels. Certification is very important in halal tourism. Why? Because certification provides assurance. Certification makes sure that tourists will not have hesitation. Okay, that's why one thing very important that set us aside, set halal tourism aside from conventional is the implementation of certification. Okay, and then halal transport. Good example like Saudi Arabia Airlines and is it Emirates? I'm not sure. But for sure Saudi Arabia, Kuwait Airlines. These airlines provide not halal food and no alcohol served. Okay. Saudi Arabia flights even have a musalla inside the aircraft. So that is halal, an example of halal transport. All right. And then halal spa and wellness. This is also an emerging product in halal tourism. Now people wants to go to spa, wellness, and to make sure that it's halal in a way. Of course, gender segregation, male, female, And then other than that, the use of the ingredients in those lotion, bath products, whatsoever are certified halal. Okay. And then a lot of other element or structures or those like maybe spa or wellness, sometimes they have apa panggil like nothing got to do with meditation that is can have some negative towards Muslim. Okay. Halal tour package, talking about that. Okay, halal tour package to a country that has many more population. If you Google, you can see halal tourism Korea or halal tourism Japan, halal tourism Vietnam or China. Okay, halal tourism. There are these countries out towards that promoting halal tour package, of course. Okay, and then okay, so this is an example. Just want to share what we have. One product we have in Malaysia. We call it Mosque Tourism. Mosque tourism, this is an example of potential halal tourism product. So Mosque tourism was actually initiated by Islamic Tourism Center. We have this Islamic Tourism Center, which is basically under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture in Malaysia. So this unit or this wing, I would say, or branch of this ministry handle Islamic tourism development, research planning in Malaysia. So they come up with mosque tourism. So mosque tourism, basically, where they have identified, if I'm not mistaken, around 80 mosques all over Malaysia that have a significant, unique, and can be an attraction to tourists. And so these mosques, which are listed under mosque tourism, will allow for tourists to enter, even if they are non-Muslim. So of course, and all of these mosques, they provide a rope just in, so that because when you enter a mosque, you have to cover aurat, right? So even the tourist is non-Muslim, so we provide a rope. So they can wear the rope and they can enter the mosque to see the inside of the mosque. Learn about architectures, the unique features of a mosque, what do we do in the mosque, what do Muslims do in the mosque, what are mosques for? Because I think mosques nowadays are doing more functional just as a prayer facilities. Mosque, I think even in Indonesia. So popular mosque, Masjid Jame in KL. If you've been to KL, Masjid Jame is one of the popular mosques, often visited regularly by tourists. Okay, history because it was built in 1909. So some of the structures are still there. Okay, Putra Mosque, Putrajaya, these are the modern pink mosque. If you've been to Putrajaya, very near to our Prime Minister's office. Crystal Mosque, this is in Terengganu. Why? Because the mosque was made purely from steel. And it is located in one of our main attractions in Terengganu. We call it Taman Islam. So it is an Islamic heritage park. So the mosque is located there. So basically that is accommodating tourism. So like I said, we provide modest rope and headscarf. So when the tourists enter, they have to wear that. Tour scheduling, if they come in big groups, they can be, they can ask for a tour guide in the mosque. But of course, the tour will schedule during non-prayer times. Communication, multilingual guides, and cultural respect. So they will, basically the guides say, okay, there are certain things you cannot do in the mosque. Okay, as a Muslim, even as a tourist. So they will talk about the beauty of Islamic values. Okay. And then mosque tourism. So these are some of the examples. This is Masjid Zilat, the far left, I think. Masjid Putra, so that is the one I mentioned just now. Masjid Putra in Putrajaya. So the people in pink, those are the tourists wearing the robes. Okay, and then Masjid Sri Sendayan. This is Masjid Sri Sendayan. Quite a new, I think like 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I think, built. Getting the orang kata apa? The Taj Mahal of Malaysia because of the architecture. I mean, similarly to what Taj Mahal. So Masjid Sri Sendayan in Negeri Sembilan. So challenges and regulation. Of course, talking about any kind of tourism product, there will be some challenges and regulations. Very important for halal tourism. I mentioned about just now, regulatory challenges, requirements, certification. Okay, cultural challenges, talking about, of course, when non-Muslim coming to our country. Are there any issues? Of course, there are once a while, you're going to have some very one issues with cultural clashes. Okay, I think happens everywhere. Okay, environmental challenges, the rise in halal tourism present advantages such as increase, of course, bigger market, bigger demand. You provide all the facilities and whatnot to cater for this huge market. There bound to be some challenges in environmental. Okay, future trends. Middle East is expected to continue to be a major hub for halal tourism, especially for luxury markets. Why we say luxury markets? Because we know a lot of these Middle Eastern countries, they are luxury countries, they are rich countries. They can provide 5, 6 stars. I don't know how many stars of hotels, skyscrapers and whatnot. Okay, so Middle Eastern is another, especially attracting these luxury segments. Okay, and then increased demand for eco-friendly halal tourism. So what is eco-friendly halal tourism means? We have halal tourism, but now we will need to be eco-friendly because everyone is going for greens. Everyone is talking about sustainability. Do we promote sustainability in our religion? Yes. In Quran mentioned. We have to look for, we have to care for the bounty that Allah has given us. The forest, the water, the whatnot, right? Those are inscribed in our Quran. So we are from many years, 14 since the Prophet's days, we talk about sustainability already. Asia Pacific region is projected to see significant growth in halal. Affluence of Muslim travelers in China, in India, a lot of China in India. India are coming to this, as a potential market nowadays. Indian. European and America continue to grow popularity. America, especially in urban centers with large Muslim population. Okay, try Google. There are certain states in US that has a large community, Muslim community. Okay, upcoming trends, new emerging destinations, talking about new destinations. Yes, especially I would say non-Muslim countries. I mentioned quite a few just now. Okay, Korea, because of how Korea has been successful in making them the map, putting themselves as a map. Putting themselves in the map of the world. Starting from entertainment industry. Now they are people want to go to Korea. Okay, and now they are providing a lot of halal in Korea. Health and wellness. Just now mentioned about spa. Here in Malaysia, we are coming up. I think the last year or last 2 years. ITCs with the collaboration from our ministry coming up with the guidelines for halal and halal Muslim friendly spa and wellness guidelines and indicators. So we come up with a proper guideline indicators for all the businesses to abide, so that you can have them properly certified as halal providers for spa and wellness. A more holistic approach and encompass emotional, physical, and spiritual. Because when we talk about halal tourism, halal package, slightly different from conventional, of course, in terms of entertainment. Okay, in terms of the what you do in a travel package. If it's a halal tourism package, what should the activities be? Of course, when we talk about Muslim-friendly or halal tourism or Islamic tourism, it has to have some kind of spiritual or emotional feeling in that particular package. Immersive experience at destination, talking about getting to know the community, a visit to the community center. If for example, go to Korea, okay, you go to Korea, 5 days, 4 nights. Aside from visiting all these movies, where they shoot their movies and whatnot, or drama, K-drama and whatnot. A visit to the local community, Muslim community in that particular area, learning about their lifestyle. This is immersive. This is what we trend. This is what Gen Z wants. Okay, they are no longer. These are people who learn. They got education, good education background, and they want something out of their out of their trips. Okay, so more efforts to attract Muslims. Some of the paper cutting or news that got. Okay, and then East Asia, South Asia destination continue efforts to attract more Muslim tourists. Okay, are we ready for the growth of Muslim part 1 and part 2, talking about increased population of Muslims all over the world? Close to 3 billion, I think. If the last one, 2 point something billion out of 7 or 8 billion. 7 billion population worldwide. Okay. All right. I think that's all. Thank you very much. I
Thank
hope
you so much.
my insights is helpful.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arni, for such an engaging and enlightening presentation. We will now move into the Q&A session. So, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat box, or you can raise your hand to speak directly to our speaker. Which is we already have 2 questions for now, and the first one, I think this one is the most frequently asked question of all the seminar and webinar. Dr. Arni, can we have the material of the lecture later?
I shared already.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hope that answers the question from Mrs. PC Ananda. And we also have a question from Mr. Ervin Firdaus. Dr. Arni, how can the tourism industry balance between the religious value and commercial interest in promoting halal tourism?
Okay. For example, okay. When I said through my lecture just now, the balance is important. Okay, I think if you can get it from what I lecture. But of course, when you said commercial values, you're talking about maybe you are referring to what conventional tourism able to provide. For example, if I said okay, entertainment. Just now I mentioned entertainment. How do we incorporate entertainment into Islamic tourism or into halal tourism? Because people want to get entertained, right? When they go for travel. Always go back into what kind of entertainment is permissible in Islam. Of course, you don't. Of course, you cannot go to a certain places, a certain destination. If you understand the core concept of Islamic tourism, or halal tourism, or Muslim-friendly tourism, there are definitely a certain destination will not be able to be considered even as a destination for Muslim package or Muslim tourism. Okay, so how do we balance? Always, I will probably suggest or I will probably advise. Always go back to how do we achieve the balance between commercialization of the package of the industry with religious values. Go back into what is permissible in Islam. What kind of entertainment permissible in Islam? Right? Of course, you might okay. Now I don't know what entertainment are we allowed to go for entertainment? Yes, we do. There are certain things. For example, how I say, if you have concert, can you have concert in Islamic tourism? Concert like people singing, right? Can we do that part of this? That if I want to put that as a one commercial values of this, can I have those kind of entertainment? Look, you can have a concert, maybe you can have those kind of thing, but look at how the operation of it, gender segregation, rules and regulation on dress codes, those things need to go by what is permissible, right? And of course, the content of that particular concert, you cannot have tak tahulah Indonesian artis kan, okay? You kena ada artis yang sesuai lah, for that. So can you commercialize kan? But you have to go back to what is what is permissible and non-permissible. If it is non-permissible, no, the Muslims, Islam said no, you cannot at all do this. Don't do it. I mean, you cannot simply do that because of you want that commercialization. Islamic tourism, halal tourism is all about permissible and non-permissible. It has to be Sharia compliant. Sharia compliant means it has to go by what Sharia laws allow us to do. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, hope that answered the questions from Mr. Ervin Firdaus. Okay. Is there anyone want to ask directly maybe? If you wanna, you can raise your hand. Oh, we got one that want to ask directly from students. Mr. Hamka. Okay. Hello, Mr. Hamka. You can ask the questions.
Okay. Hello. My name is Sehamka. I'm also located in Lasem, in Central Java, and now I'm study tourism in UT Surabaya. I have a question to Mr. Arni. How to explain misunderstanding about halal tourism? Sometimes halal tourism considered many to have many prohibition. Thank you.
Halal tourism have many what?
Sometimes halal tourism considered many to have many prohibition.
Prohibit. Okay.
Yeah.
So your question is how to make people understand. Am I right?
How to explain misunderstanding?
How to explain the misunderstanding, because people think there are so many prohibit.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you are talking about how to if from the point of view of the religion itself. Okay. First of all, I am not apa panggil? An expert in maksudnya bukan ustazah. Saya bukan ustazah. Okay. In order to make people understand from the religion part, maybe I will not be able to answer that. I'm quite ilmu tak sampai situ. But from the point of view of tourism professionals or tourism educators, from the industry perspective, how do we explain the misunderstanding? Okay, first of all, of course, it will not be it will not be a heartful try to make people who are not Muslim to understand purely or to understand fully what we as a Muslim have to adhere, right? But from the standpoint of an industry, we always say that okay, Muslim friendly or halal tourism is not about making people or getting people to become discomfort about the prohibit. The prohibit part, what allow or don't allow, is actually only applicable to who? To us, to Muslim lah. Kalau dia non-Muslim, dia boleh buat je apa dia nak. Betul tak? Kan? But So if they opt, katakan they are non-Muslim, but they want to take up Muslim-friendly package. Okay, you probably you can say, okay, this Muslim package where you don't go to certain places, where you don't do certain things, is actually meant for Muslim market, Muslim people. But if you want to take, or if you want to participate in Muslim package, or in halal package, then you will have to go by that. You will have to follow, because this package is designed for Muslim. Okay, so the misunderstanding, probably what you meant just now, the misunderstanding about what a lot, there's contoh, we cannot drink alcohol, we cannot consume pork, we cannot go to apa lagi? Adult entertainment area.
Diskotik.
Yalah, adult entertainment center, disco ke apa. Kalau dekat Thailand kan banyak those place, I mean beyond that, right? In Thailand especially. Okay, of course that will not, in order to make them understand that, I would say probably from the religion perspective tu, like this is a different story. But from the industry standpoint, we created halal tourism mainly to fill the gap. So tourism can be enjoyed by Muslim people at the utmost satisfaction, but at the same time following still our values, teachings, beliefs and faith. Itu sebab kita buat halal tourism tu. Kita nak, we want people to enjoy still, but you enjoy without feeling apa panggil was-was. You know, you enjoy without feeling, am I going to create scene or not? Understand? I hope that answered the question. Kalau nak cerita yang bab how to make people on the misunderstanding tu, I think itu kena ada interference from the religion part of it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sayhamka. Hope that answered the questions, and we always proceed to our next question, which is we got two questions. But regarding the time, I think we will have only time for answering only one question. Dr. Arni, it's from Mr. Haryawan Fadil. Hello, Puan Arni. I'm very love Malaysia because 10 years ago I worked in the Thailand, Malaysia. Nice to meet you. I have a question. How to maintain tolerance religion in tourism industry, especially in diversity in Malaysia and Indonesia. Thank you.
If you're talking about tolerance in religion, in industry, I think we both, Malaysia and Indonesia, I think we stand out to become one of countries. Stand out as a countries that can actually, we promote a very good tolerance between Muslims with non-Muslims. You can have, I think in Malaysia, or same as in Indonesia, you can have church next to a mosque, next to a temple, right? We have that in Malaysia. And when people came, and when tourists came, especially tourists from countries like, if not to mention what country, but there are certain countries who are quite sensitive about religion practices and whatnot. So when they come to Malaysia, or they come to our parts, where we able to showcase that tolerance, so they become amazed. Okay, they become amazed at how we do that. Okay, one of the way just now. That's why I showcase to you the most tourism product what we have in Malaysia. Basically, aside from allowing, for people to enjoy the mosque, to look at it, to enter, able to appreciate the architectures, at the same time, spiritually, I would say, or emotionally, that is actually promoting tolerance. We tolerate. We Muslim, we want to showcase that we as a Muslim, we tolerate people. We allow people, even you are non-Muslim, to come to our mosque, come to our sacred place, and enjoy, not to enjoy, but to learn maybe. Because those things promotes understanding. Understanding promotes tolerance. Right? So I think that is how we as an industry, I think tourism for that matter, we are an industry that actually should be treated as an avenue to make people from different background or different religion, different faith to accept one another, to accept our culture, to learn. That's why we have community-based tourism. That's why we have heritage tourism. That's why we have culture tourism. Because tourism promotes tourism promotes an avenue. We provide an avenue where people can come by, learn about each other. From there, you promote understanding. From understanding, you make people tolerate. So I think one way how to maintain tolerance, always come up with in the industry, promote from halal tourism, especially like from the standpoint of Muslim, we always believe in creating peace, right? So most tourism product, bring people, like if you have a package, go to your place. You have local community, Muslim community. Even create some activities, create some where tourists can participate and learn from each other. So that promotes tolerance. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Arni, for your answer. I hope that answered the questions to Mr. Hariawan Fadil. So that's it. The end of the Q&A session. Now we'll be moving on to our next sessions. Before we close today's session, we would like to present the appreciation symbol to our honorable speaker. On behalf of Universitas Terbuka and Organizing Committee today, we are pleased to present this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Arni Abdul Gani for her valuable contributions and insightful of international lecturing today. From the session entitled Halal Tourism Unveiled. Dr. Arni, once again, thank you for sharing your expertise and for being with us today. We hope this collaboration continues and inspire the future academic and professional engagement across the situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the end of our international lecturing season. But before that, please fill the evaluation form. The electronic certificate will automatically send to your given email. The link have been shared in the chat box below. So once again, on behalf of Universitas Terbuka and our organizing committee, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Dr. Arni Abdul Gani for her invaluable insight, and to all of you, our participants, general participants, and fellow students for your attention and engagement. May today's session enrich and broaden your perspective and inspire further exploration into the field of halal tourism. Thank you once again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a beautiful morning. Thank you, Dr. Arni.
Thank you.
See you again.
Yes, see you again. Inshallah.